Hey lovelies, this is Janelle, the relationship coach behind the Successful Invisible. And we're here with another episode of Response and React. All right, let's talk about this because this story is uncomfortable, repetitive, and deeply predictable if you've been paying attention. Every few years, we watch another black man reach a historic level of success, only to light the whole thing on fire behind lust, ego, and poor judgment. And every time it happens, people rush to ask who set him up, who tempted him, who wanted to see him fall. But the truth is simpler and harsher. Nobody has to set you up if you're willing to take the bait. The Sherrone Moore situation at the University of Michigan isn't some mysterious conspiracy. It's a textbook case of a man believing he was bigger than the game, smarter than the system, and immune to consequences. What makes this story hit differently is not just the cheating. Men cheat every day and rarely lose their careers over it. It's the where, the who, and the how. A subordinate, a workplace power imbalance, a lack of discipline, and then the crash out that followed. This wasn't bad luck. This was bad discernment. And if we're being honest, it fits a long-running pattern we've seen with powerful black men who don't interrogate their own internalized anti-blackness, entitlement, or lack of sexual boundaries. So no, this isn't about sympathy. This is about accountability, pattern recognition, and the reminder that success doesn't protect you from yourself. If anything, it exposes you faster. Let's get into it.
I don't know what's worse, the fact that this married head football coach fumbled a multi-million-dollar bag because he couldn't keep it in his pants, or the fact that it was a DoorDash driver that snitched on him. Y'all buckle up because this sports tea is straight up bleach. All right, this is Sherrone Moore. Key point was the head football coach at the University of Michigan. Old boy ended up getting fired because he was messing around with one of the staffers who allegedly was one of his subordinates. Like I said, this dude is married, has 3 kids. In fact, his wife had twins last year. Allegedly, it was a DoorDash driver that tipped the school off something fishy was going on because this dude, this D-U-M-M-Y, got a Plan B delivered to his office. This led to Sherrone getting investigated, and the university found out that he was having an inappropriate relationship with a staffer, causing him to get fired with no cause, meaning that he ain't getting paid. Mind you, this dude was making hella bread, y'all. This year alone, he was supposed to make over $6 million. His base salary was over $500,000, and then he was supposed to receive over $5 million in additional compensation. And his contract contained a buyout for 13 point.
I'm gonna try and go in order of how it happened. Sherrone Moore is fired for cause. He wasn't their guy. Jim Harbaugh left. I didn't even know at first. So I'm seeing replies to my tweet like, well, of course, Kev, they got to fire him because he was caught having an affair with his staffer. And I said, oh, hey, whoa, let me delete that tweet because I didn't know. I thought they just fired him because they missed the playoff. Speaking of White, he
come on.
His assistant, right?
His executive assistant.
His executive assistant turns out, and he's a married man to another white. Just for a little context here, they asked him. White. Mm-hmm. They asked him years ago about Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is a quarterback from Alabama who's very athletic, and they wanted one of the NFL GMs, I believe, was like, would you switch to receiver? And they asked Sherrone Moore what he thought about that. And he was like, I don't see color. I don't see color.
You see pink a lot.
Oh, wow.
That's the color he see all the time.
Angel.
He sees a lot of it.
You see that pink, don't you? You see that milk and that pink, and you go crazy over it every time. Oh, from that moment, I was like, oh, I know what type of man you are. He's like, I was in Kansas and the blah, all right. I don't want to hear, if you say I don't see color, I don't want to even hear it.
Right.
You can't live in America and talk about some I don't see color. I ain't even gonna say I'll give him a pass, but white people, they don't really know what they mean when they say that. So boom, he gets fired for having an inappropriate relationship with his staffer. And I'm just throwing the allegations. I don't even know what's true or not. This is all happening one on top of another. Then it comes out that the girl was pregnant. I don't know.
The staffer?
That's what the
Allegedly.
Reporters are reporting.
I did not see that.
Then it comes out that the reason they found this out is because he got a DoorDash. He got a Plan B DoorDash to the office.
God,
and I said, I just refuse to believe you that dumb. I refuse to believe.
He said, If I go to the store, they'll see me go to the store. So, but if I have somebody deliver it,
I just
in a
know, Angel, with your fully developed frontal lobe, you did not. I just know you didn't get the DoorDash to the Plan B to your place of business.
That's why you put a different name on stuff now.
1,000%. But your face is your face, and you're the black
100%.
coach of Michigan
The first
anywhere
black
in
coach.
Ann Arbor.
Meet me at the door. It's gonna be my face.
Right? So then it turns out that he allegedly gets arrested the same night. And I'm like, God's for. Apparently the man has been accused of stalking this girl for months. Staffer. He apparently broke into her house.
Oh, Lord.
Held a knife to her. I'm going to kill you for what you did. Never mind, I'm going to kill me. I'm going to kill somebody.
somebody's dying.
That,
Let me get this straight. You spent the better part of 2 decades working your ass out to become the head football coach for the University of Michigan football team. You've held multiple positions, clawed your way to the top, and now you finally have a seat at the table. And let's just keep it a stat. These type of seats for people that look like us, they are few and far between. And you've made it there. So much so that you secured a 5-year, $27.5 million contract with the University of Michigan. And you threw it all away because you do not have wangulus control. Make it make sense because it doesn't. Y'all grab your tea and have a seat. Let's talk about Sherrone Moore. So Sherrone Moore was the head football coach of the University of Michigan football team. He earned that position in January of 2024, securing a nearly $30 million contract with the university. Now, Sherrone has been married to his wife, Kelly, since 2015, and they have 3 daughters. Well, baby, on yesterday, the University of Michigan released a statement saying that they had fired Sherrone, citing that they found credible evidence of him being engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So Sherrone has been fired from his dream job because he lacked wangulus control and was cheating on his spouse with a staff member. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. But it gets worse. According to reporting in the immediate hours following his dismissal from Michigan, the Saline Police Department then assisted the Pittsfield Township Police in detaining him. He remains at the county jail in Michigan after being booked at 8:30 p.m. on alleged assault charges. Now, being Double D, I got to tell y'all what the congregation of the internet streets is saying. This is all allegations. But according to them, honey, Sherrone was messing with a staff member. He had close proximity with this staff member, so much so he was able to get them a very significant raise. But here's the thing. He was enjoying that ooey gooey gush way too much because he was going in raw, and the staff member is now pregnant. Now, the congregation goes on to allege that after Sherrone was fired from his job, he went to go meet up with that alleged pregnant staff member and some shit popped off, and that is why he's arrested on these alleged assault charges. Now, the person that they're alleging is the staffer. They have locked their Instagram down. It doesn't mean that that's actually them. It could be that they're being harassed and had to lock their Instagram down. But we're going to wait and see what comes out in the washing and arranging. Oh, yes, they also allege that he tried to pay the staffer off to keep this on the low. Absolutely no weighing control. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. But what we do know is that this is a story that is as old as time. Men thinking with their little heads instead of thinking with their big heads.
Yeah, man, that pussy will do it to you. That nigga lost everything in a blink of an eye. $13 million, gone. Wife, gone. Alimony, gone. Child support, gone. And he got arrested. So 9 times out of 10, he probably gonna lay down for a little while. Gone. And then the nigga just kept making it worse. Motherfucker done broke into her house and tried to unalive himself and her. What? Come on, bruh. Come on, dog. Like, what are we doing, bro? You'll be lucky if you touch high school football. You feel me? And I do feel bad for some of the kids because, like, I just heard that the school is just now telling the kids what happened. So imagine you a recruit. You just came in thinking the coach going to be there, and you hear this horrendous-ass story how he got a staffer pregnant, then tried to unalive her, and then tried to unalive himself. Big dog, that's a crazy start to your football career.
Woo, child, there's one thing a man does and does well, and that's cheat his way out of a good job, a happy home, and possibly even his freedom. Sherrone Moore, Michigan's head football coach, just got fired and arrested in the same day. Now, the timeline is wild, so here's what we know so far. Michigan fired Sherrone Moore as head coach after an internal investigation found credible evidence he had an inappropriate relationship with a staff member, which violates the university policy. Then hours later, police respond to an alleged assault incident in Pittsfield Township, Michigan. Moore is taken into custody and then booked. Now, officials have not released formal charges yet, and details are still limited because the investigation is active. Okay, now here's where it gets really wild. Allegedly, after Sherrone was fired, he went home and him and his wife had an argument. This is all alleged, by the way. He went home, he and his wife had an argument, and he was making threats, like unaliving of himself threats. And then allegedly he went to the mistress's home where he threatened to unalive her first and then himself. That is all alleged. That's why they're saying that he was arrested and he's currently allegedly being held in a mental health facility. So basically, Sherrone Moore crashed out because he didn't want to face the consequences of his own actions. He did it. He is the one who made these decisions and made these choices. But he decided to crash out on the women for his actions. Nothing is scarier than a man who lacks discipline, self-control, and accountability. Because what do you mean, I gotta go with you? You made a choice and a decision. Now you have to face the consequences and you want to take me with you? What? Let this be a cautionary tale about power, boundaries, and consequences. I mean, you would think that Sherrone Moore would have learned from Ime Udoka, from the Coldplay cheater. You would think that after the last couple years of powerful men getting caught cheating and then losing their jobs and losing their families for doing it, you would think that he would be a little bit more cautious. You would think that he would say, you know what? I'm not going to do this because I have a lot to lose. Respecting boundaries, holding yourself accountable, and understanding that being in a position of power means that your actions matter more, not less. Now, the rumors are swirling, and allegedly, Sherrone Moore was having an affair with his 19-year-old assistant. How did a 19-year-old become the assistant to a head coach? What kind of job experience did she have to become the assistant for a head coach? And y'all, look. There's so many rumors surrounding this whole thing, but this one took me out. This man allegedly DoorDashed Plan B to his job. You couldn't just give her the money? I mean, he clearly didn't trust her. He clearly didn't trust that she would take it. He was making millions of dollars a year, and he fumbled the bag, his family, and possibly even his freedom for a 19-year-old girl. This is a developing story, so I'll keep you guys updated as more comes out.
People, you know a man's business and face is on every news outlet and social media platform when artificial intelligence has generated a version of it. The former University of Michigan head football coach, Sherrone Moore, lost his job for having an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Now, here goes the domino effect. It's come falling down. Coach Moore was arrested and charged with home invasion, breaking and entering, stalking. Here are the timelines. Terminated as head coach of Michigan December 10, 2025. Went to the staff member place of residency, allegedly threatened to unalive himself and her December 11, 2025. Coach Moore was taken into custody at Pittsfield County and arraigned and given his charges December 12, 2025. Now let's cut straight to the chase about the staff member. Her name is Paige Shiver, who was Coach Moore's assistant for now about 2 years. The relationship went from professional to personal to intimate. Athletic director of Michigan, Ward Manuel, from words on the Ann Arbor campus, had got wind of Sherrone Moore and Paige Shiver having an inappropriate relationship. Manuel even questioned Moore and Shiver last summer, in which both denied accusations of having an inappropriate relationship. So it seems Manuel and the Michigan University wanted Sherrone Moore out for prior infractions against Coach Moore. The university was still investigating against him. As if I forgot to mention, and my bad people, Michigan has a zero tolerance against inappropriate relationships activities. Oh, by the way, Sherrone Moore's wife, who he has 3 daughters with, and Paige Shiver follow each other on social media. Now, back to Michigan University, where the Wolverines coaching staff informed Coach Moore about the relationship allegations between him and staff member Paige Shiver. Ward Manuel had gotten wind of. So basically, Shiver either had to be transferred or fired, in which AD Manuel wanted Moore fired for. So Coach Moore was going to fire Paige Shiver, but Paige Shiver backdoor Coach Moore contacted AD Manuel, telling him she had the evidence he needed to get Coach Moore outed at Michigan University. Paige Shiver still has her job at the University of Michigan for her involved still in an appropriate relationship. She was hired last year where she had an annual salary of $58,000. This year, she even got a raise. Paige Shiver is due to make $99,000 annually at the end of 2025. If you like this video, drop right in the comments and click that subscribe button.
I'm only speaking on this because I'm from Michigan. When I saw that the head coach of Michigan was fired, I was like, hold on, didn't the head coach of Michigan State just get fired a few years ago for sexual harassment? This whole thing is so embarrassing. Shamir, I don't even know his name. I got the update from my local news. He was arrested. This is him at the hearing. He went to the victim's apartment and he went into her kitchen, got her kitchen knives, her butter knives, threatened to kill himself, and then said that she ruined his life and that if anything happened to him, if he killed himself, that she had blood on her hands and that it basically would be her fault. For him to say that she ruined his life is like, no, you ruined your life. The head coach of Michigan State, Mel Tucker, got fired because he was accused of sexual harassment by a woman that she was actually hired in to talk about sexual harassment and then was sexually harassed by Mel Tucker. How do you not learn from the mistakes of others? You would think that this man would have learned from this man and just ended the relationship. So they say he was having an inappropriate relationship with a staff member for 4 years, I believe. Mel Tucker got divorced from his wife, Joy, in 2024. After the sexual harassment case that he had, she filed for divorce. And I wouldn't be surprised if Shamir's wife files for divorce from him. It seems as though some men find it difficult to think about the bigger picture, and what they want in the moment is what they go after, and they don't think about what they may lose. This man, he actually had a contract for $95 million for 10 years, which would have paid him $9.5 million a year. And this coach, Sherrone Moore, he lost $6 million. Mel Tucker was the second highest paid coach in the NCAA. Lost it all. Lost his wife. His public image is forever tainted. It's just not worth it. Morals, values, standards, integrity, all lacking. And I hope that these situations can be lessons for them. It's cautionary tales for other men who may reach these levels in the positions of power.
One thing that did not make sense to me when the Sherrone Moore story started rolling out was the idea of him showing up at the house of the person he was having an inappropriate relationship with and threatening to unalive both himself and her. Because the idea of a powerful football coach having an affair with a staffer is a tales all the time. Him getting fired when it's exposed, tales all the time. But taking that additional step and showing up at her house and threatening and potentially, according to, like, he's in jail for assault. Right? Like, that happening was a nail in the coffin that you can't bounce back from. And it's the thing that makes this story so unique. And so I wanted to get an understanding when the story was rolling out, like, how did he get there? What prompted that? And as more reporting is coming out, I think it's starting to become more clear because the boosters in the Michigan program reportedly expressed a concern about the mental state of Sherrone Moore to Michigan's AD, Ward Manuel, on Sunday. Before Sunday, there were reportedly other investigations into an inappropriate relationship that found no wrongdoing. So you had previous investigations, and then reportedly on Sunday, there was an expression of concern for Sherrone Moore. It is also being reported that on Wednesday morning, the staff member who was in the inappropriate relationship with Sherrone Moore went to Ward Manuel and other officials at Michigan and gave proof of the relationship. She came with
receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, in everything to prove.
After receiving this information, Ward Manuel decided to fire Sherrone Moore with cause, and he did it by himself with no HR and security, which has raised some concerns in and of itself. He had a coaches meeting and then an all players meeting, letting them know that Sherrone Moore had been let go. Now, after that, we have Sherrone Moore going to the house of the person he was having the inappropriate relationship with. That led to a dispatch call, and the dispatch call makes it clear that he left with knives. And so it is reported that he threatened to harm himself and her, and that when he left the apartment, he left with knives. And so you have a mentally unstable person, visibly mentally unstable according to the boosters, who now believes in his mind that he has been betrayed and has lost his job because of this betrayal, and is now going to square that betraying. The fact that we got here with a mentally unstable man who is in custody and under suicide watch because of the threat that he was to himself and others. This is the most wild coaching crash out and football story I have ever heard. Now, like I said, there's an element of this that is powerful men and their inability to keep it in their pants, and I've covered that. There is a racial component to how this story has been covered, and I talked about that. But this element right here makes this story the most unique of any of these stories. And because of this full-on display of how unstable he was, everyone is now left to pick up the pieces. His family, the victim of the assault, the players, the university, everyone is now trying to pick up from the brokenness that has been left from the fact that he couldn't just take the L and move on. He took it to such an egregious level. It's something we've never seen before. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Why didn't Sherrone Moore's mistress get fired like him? Because that was his subordinate. She reported up to him. And as a former HR manager, there is such a thing as power imbalance, okay? This is like sexual harassment 101. Why do you think your organization, if you work for one, has you take these sexual harassment classes? They're mandatory. They're legally mandatory. Most organizations put zero tolerance policies in place, and you have to sign it at the end of any training that they give you. But it's more than just him getting fired, right? There are legal consequences for an organization when these things happen. Shit's likely going to go down for them too. When did they know? What did they do about it? What kind of investigation, quote unquote, did they actually do? So I know y'all want to throw everything in there but the kitchen sink. She's white. She's this age. He's married. He's got kids. I know. All of that is true. But at the end of the day, she was his subordinate. That's why she's still working and he's not. He had a duty and a responsibility to keep it in his pants, especially with somebody that reports up to him. And I've seen it all, y'all. Even the other way around. I've seen a female manager get fired for sexual harassment, okay? I've seen it all. All right, love you, bye.
I hope every man learned from this Sherrone Moore situation that the spirit of lust is never satisfied. The spirit of lust is a demon. It is never satisfied. After having the ultimate crash out of the century, got a criminal record now. He lost his career. Won't even be able to coach out of middle school. Okay? After all of that, now you got an OnlyFans model coming out saying, yeah, he was in my DMs, and she's showing the screenshots, trying to offer her tickets for exchange for sexual favors. Like, bruh, right when you thought this story couldn't get any worse, when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it gets worse. It just goes to show you, like, the spirit of lust is never satisfied, fellas. It is a demon. No matter how good your wife is, your fiance, girlfriend, no matter how good she is to you, no matter how good your wife is to you, it just goes to show his wife wasn't enough. Okay. Then he stepped outside of his wife, dealing with his assistant. His assistant wasn't even enough. Now he's even trying to step outside of that. The spirit of lust is a demon. It is never satisfied. It is never satisfied. And I just feel so sorry for that wife is those beautiful daughters. I feel sorry for those boys at that program that was dependent on him, that he let down, the coaching staff that he let down, the school within itself he let down. All of that. This man let his whole family and his lineage down. This man was making almost $7 million a year. And he let his family down. He let his lineage down. The people that was going to come down the line in his family, he let them people down. That was the ultimate bag he could have secured. But the spirit of lust, it just goes to show you, even when you have it all, when you have that cancerous spirit of lust within you as a man, you will never be satisfied. So I hope a lot of men, every man that see what's going on, you got to learn something from this.
Another one bites the dust. It's a tale as old as time. Another black man brought to his knees by the likes of a white woman. At this point, I think y'all need a support group. WWLA, White Woman Lovers Anonymous. So Sherrone Moore, head football coach, had apparently been canoodling with the staff of the female and white variety. The preference strikes a damn again. If you don't take anything else away from this, take away the fact that a man's preferences doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Oh, y'all thought the preference got treated better? If it's snowing, he's going. Even if he has to risk hypothermia. And not only was he fired, he was arrested mere hours after his termination for an alleged assault. He remains under investigation and is scheduled for arraignment on Friday. White women out here collecting generational wealth like Pokemon cards. At this point, I think white women have a higher kill count than It the Clown. Are we in Derry?
Is it Sherrone Moore? And see, I don't like to make this about race.
Yeah,
it's not about race, but it is a little bit.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
As black men in America, and when we get some sort of authority or hierarchy, and we are the leader in the room, hey man, we got to walk the straight and narrow. I don't give a fuck.
But guys, before we make these decisions, man, let's get some post-nut clarity before we got them go post. Let's think about it. It's here to DB.
Nut clarity.
Is it worth it, guys? Come on, man. We put y'all niggas in cover too, man.
PNC. We got shirts coming.
PNC.
Post-nut clarity. PNC.
Come on, man.
DBs, LBs, D linemen, O linemen, QBs, receivers, all the things. Assistant coaches, GAs, trainers, staff members. Post-nut clarity. Is it worth it? Because believe me, once you nut, you got to wipe it up.
You got to clean up.
We also had to start looking at the clues, context clues.
Yes.
Pay attention to the chin strap. Nigga walking that 50-cent chin strap with the 2 cylinders, you're cutting the sides to leave edges. Them chin strap niggas.
You got to watch them.
You got to watch them.
You got to double take.
Hey,
you got to double.
What's up, bro?
Yeah.
Okay, what's up with you? Mm-hmm. Chin strap niggas are dangerous to me because
it's 2026, for Christ's sake.
You either go full beard, 2-piece, or naked face.
That's a great point.
Context clues.
Yeah, coach.
You gotta start looking at it. Look, they telling you, they giving you the clues on the field.
You're looking right past it.
He told you he was a lame ass nigga. You know, she got an abortion. He got her pregnant. He was raw skiggity in there. What girl? There was nothing in there, man. PNC. Know what you nutting in also.
My God. It's not going to be worth it.
If he was raw dogging that thing, something must have been in that turkey.
Yeah, she probably knew how to suck peanut butter through a straw.
Probably a little bit of that cranberry sauce.
For sure.
And at the end of the day, he was getting paid, you head coach, and you putting that Wolverine on him.
Exactly.
Literally. The Michigan Wolverine.
Yeah.
The Michigan way. Ooh, noodle. Stupid ass nigga.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube. And that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. All right. So this Sherrone Moore scandal that has come out from the University of Michigan, where the black head coach, former black head coach, the first one in University of Michigan's history, fumbled his whole bag, his whole life, and his whole family. He has a white wife with 3 biracial daughters, and he fumbled his whole life, his freedom, and his future because he was sleeping with a white woman who reported to him on his staff. And then after they found out about the inappropriate relationship, however that came about, he went and he crashed out. He broke into her house, and there was just, and was trying to decide if he was going to take her and him out. It was a whole mess. But what it shows yet again is that I can see something that's very uncomfortable that a lot of black men will not see. That I believe powerful white men see, and they understand the play of this. And it's a very subtle play. And that is most black men, this is in the collective, this is regardless of socioeconomic status and regardless of education. I believe that most black men, like 95% of black men, especially African American men, will, as let's say they're ascending to greatness doing something specific. The powerful white men that are around them and above them know only thing they have to do for 95% of black men to completely implode their life is throw a white woman at them. Only thing that white man has to do is figure out that black man's type. So, and what I mean is not do something overt. I mean do something actually quite subtle. And I think this is the case with this University of Michigan former head coach. The white woman, Paige Shivers, I think is her name, who was put in, and I don't want to say put in, who was his assistant, who he was having an inappropriate relationship with, was on his coaching staff. And that's what I mean, just put a white woman in front of him. It wasn't overt. She worked for him. She reported to him. But peep the tea, I believe that Paige Shivers' daddy is an NFL head coach. So I have no doubt that all of this was a plot against Sherrone Moore. However, it was a plot that could only harm him if he chose to take the bait, right? And it's very disheartening that there are so many black men who this applies to. Shannon Sharp just was in the scandal earlier, 2025, where he went and he basically retired an OnlyFans model because he had to pay her $23 million in a settlement because he didn't want all the foolishness that he was doing behind the scenes with her, all of the sexual proclivities he had to come out in court. And the thing is, he had to pay her more. Like in 2022, she was very young. You're a white girl, white woman. He had to pay her more than he made in his entire decades plus long NFL career. That is how much black men will throw away everything for a white woman. And I do believe it is about 95% of black men across the collective. Like I said, this is notwithstanding socioeconomic status. This is notwithstanding level of education. I think there are 3 categories of black men. This is how I think about it in relation to white women. There are the Denzels, there are the Deons, and then there's the other 95%. So I think about 2.5% of black men are like Denzel Washington. They love black women. They would only marry black women. They would only procreate black women. They know who they are. They stand on who they are. They're very proud of who they are. And they represent, with, their people and how they move in life, right? Then another 2.5% are like Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders has the confidence and the success to bag any baddie he wants to date, marry, and procreate with. He is in no shortage of baddies, right? Of beautiful, many times successful, but definitely beautiful women who he has on his arm, whether they be girlfriend, whether they be wife, etc. Okay? And a lot of times those type of black men also don't necessarily go for white women. They may date them, but them marrying them is not necessarily a high priority because they can date and partner with baddies that they want to be with. Then you have the other 95% of black men who I honestly believe with very little prodding, if they were going up the ladder, because I'll explain the reason why. If the type of white woman that they like, they would screw over their family, rat out their mother, throw mama from a train. They would do anything to get away from, their blackness, etc. I think there's a lot of anti-blackness, internalized racism, low racial self-esteem, and misogyny more that goes into that. And I do believe that is 95% of black men. And it's like I said, it's very subtle. It's not overt. So the fact that Sherrone Moore is in this current scandal, nobody did anything to him. This is 100% his responsibility. Like, let me make that clear. This is his actions had consequences. And he doesn't like those consequences because he has no job. Now he also has no freedom because of his continual and consistent poor choices. And I'm apply something here that my daddy always told me growing up. And he said, you never bigger than the game. And he used to say that, especially a lot when like Tiger Woods scandal came out and his wife found him cheating. She beat him with a golf club. And the reason why came out, Tiger Woods thought he was bigger than the game, right? And he was just sleeping with strippers and sex workers and all this, and he was being cheap about it. It was messy, right? He has never rebounded from that because at that time when that came out, I remember reading a headline. He was making like $70 million a year in endorsements alone, not even from golf. And this was in the early 2010s, I think that happened, maybe a little bit before. So he thought he was bigger than the game because he was this black man. Well, he didn't consider himself black, but anyway, he was, his father was a black man, and he was clearly melanated. So he thought he was bigger than the game of celebrity and celebrity sports that he was involved in, and golf he was involved in. And that turned out not to be the case. And I think we're seeing the same thing with Sherrone Moore. Like, you are surrounded by so many people that you want this to be a marker of your success. And also, you just have low racial self-esteem. You have lack of discipline. He absolutely did. You don't think well, because why are you in this? Then another perspective I want to talk about is the cheating. Cheating is wrong, okay? You're married. You need to be faithful to your wife, your family, your vows, and your commitment. Full stop. However, this man wanted to cheat, and I believe that he was going to cheat whether it was with the woman on his staff or not. The part that really, really I cannot understand is why he would choose to sleep with somebody from work, especially a subordinate. Because I don't know if he never taught you never mess where you eat. Like, you know what I mean? Why are you doing something like that where you go to make money? He could have met a white woman down the road at another school in another city, because I'm sure he travels quite a bit for work. He could have met a blonde white woman in any other city and had an affair and figured it out, and it would have never interrupted his job. Now, if it came out later that he was cheating, that may, dinged his reputation, but men don't really care about other men cheating. Rarely. Most men don't care about that. So he could have done a little PR run, and him and his family and the kids and everything, and that could have been cleaned up, but he would have still been fully and gainfully employed. It's the fact that he chose to just wreck it all, right, over this young lady who is still employed, and she's just gonna go about her life. So this needs to be studied, because there are so many examples of this, of black men reaching a level of success, and they continually and willingly and freely chuck it all, throw it all, risk it all in order to be with a white woman, and then their demise comes very quickly because they bet on the wrong horse. They're choosing the wrong people to do anything with.
And so I don't feel bad for Sherrone Moore. I do feel bad for his children. I do think that his wife is a little bit embarrassed, but she gonna rebound and she gonna be fine. And if she really, if she done with black men, I feel bad for those kids and whoever their mother's marries next, because that's concerning. But as I feel with all biracials with white mothers, but I digress. It's another story of another black man who was basically so ruled by his own lust and lack of common sense that he did not ensure that he could not be in a situation where he was set up. And he walked right into the scenario. I don't want to even say trap, to the scenario that was set up. He could have easily just avoided that, not been a part of that, and moved on with his life and kept working at Michigan or went to another school. But the way he moved, he screwed himself. Everything is that there is no more coaching. There's no potential for that, especially after the crash out. The cheating wasn't the problem. It was the subordinate and the crash out that were the problem. The fact that it was a subordinate he was cheating with was the problem. And then the crash out after he broke in that lady's house. So he screwed himself. And I really want other black men to see it and really reflect on it and understand that y'all do this a lot. And black women just shake our heads and mind our business because why? This is silly. So let me know your thoughts about it below.
And this is exactly why I don't do surface level dating advice or fairy tale narratives over here. What happened with Sherrone Moore wasn't random, shocking, or unforeseeable. It was pattern behavior. And when you learn how to spot patterns early, you stop wasting years trying to understand men who are showing you exactly who they are. I.e., Shannon Sharpe did something very similar to this foolishness a few months ago and ruined a lot of his career. Inside my exclusive coaching community on Coffee, we break down this in real time. How to clock ego, entitlement, sexual recklessness, low discipline, savior complexes, and men who think they're smarter than consequences. Before you emotionally, financially, or reputationally attach yourself to them. You'll learn how to assess a man's decision making under pressure, his relationship to power, and whether he has liability disguised as potential. If you're doing more than you should be, and if you're done being surprised by predictable outcomes and ready to date with clarity, strategy, and discernment, join us. The link to my exclusive coffee community is below. Come learn how to recognize men like Sherrone on site and choose yourself accordingly, and also how to clock those men and stay away from them altogether.